Huh?
Cord.
Is Bridget on there?
Yeah. Just Bridget and
Bridget and one more.
Michelle. Right now, Bridget and Pam? Somebody.
Yeah, I'm here.
Where's Michelle?
Cool. We're just going to talk about the mastermind that we went to yesterday with the Loken Group. Loken Group, what are they? They're top number one in KW?
Number one in KW in the United States.
And they've only been a team since like 2011.
Yeah.
So they're, yeah.
Hello.
450 active listings right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was pretty cool because they're on like a similar path as we are. Like Tyler was talking with Karina, which is the wife, and or the other partner, but she's their wife. And they're on a very similar path that we were. They were like in the same year we did about the same amount, and so it's kind of cool to see that like that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know.
Super cool.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that they run their model completely different than us, though. They run it a lot more like a business with individual roles that they as far as like appointment setters, buyers agents, listing agents, but they have their system just really, really dialed in.
And everybody that's on their team is high level at whatever they're doing, right? So if you're an ISA, you're a high level ISA. So their ISA's average goal or their goal, like standard for a month, is 25 appointments set, 20 attended. And from that, they'll get 12 listings, buys, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the listing agents and the buyer's agents are held to like a higher standard. Lance was talking about how they were converting like 45% of the appointments that they were going on, and like that's higher than the industry standard. But Lance was like, think if we did 70%, 75%. So their goal was 75%, and they've hit like 68 or something like that. But still, with the same leads that you've been getting, you're converting at a much higher rate. Like think about it, everybody can convert at like 5% of Boomtown or something like that. That'd be kind of what the equivalent would be. So I thought that was pretty cool. How they get their leads? I don't know, they call expired, and they have their ISAs, I think, called expired, and they get a lot of incoming calls from their listings, or like a bajillion listings that they have, right? They get their incoming calls from listings, and they do radio. So I don't know, the radio, I feel like is more of a mind share thing, right? Karina was talking about how if they're driving down the street and they hear one of their ads, right? Because I'm sure they just focus on the Houston area, so they hear their ads and then they see something from the Loken Group and they're like, oh my God, I got to call these people. If you're going to list your house, you can probably call with them. You know what I mean? Who was that?
Again?
TLGshares.com.
Yeah, if you want to see basically like how we have our Relevate back end, just like agent website where we house all the like policies and stuff like that, they have one too. And if you want to check that out, it's what is it? TLG Shares?
Yeah.
TLG Shares, the Loken Group Shares.com.
You can sign in, but they have a part that says like, click if you're a Keller Williams agent, so you just click that. I went through it yesterday, when I printed off everything because I'm that person. But they have like scripts on there. They have their ISA schedules of like what their ISAs are calling. They have their listing presentations, buyers presentations. They have their like, they even have like their 135 or 411s like we do. They have them on there. So they have like everything on there, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing with them too is just being like super systematic. Like Karina, what's her name? Right?
Yep.
Karina was she was just a teacher, not just a teacher, but she was a teacher, and but he was like CFO for a couple of different companies, like oil and gas, and he was just sick of the corporate world, and that's why he got into it. But just like having your process and exactly what you do when dialed in is what's really helped them grow and scale so quickly.
And on to that too, they like having things dialed in. Lance said that they focus on one thing every year to master, right? So the first year they mastered buyers, And then the second year they're like, okay, now that we have that, we can improve upon what we have, right? So they mastered buyers, and then they next year mastered listings, and then the next year they went for like customer service or something like that, and then the next year it was like referrals. So it's not like they're losing focus on the other things that they've mastered. They're just like, this is what it is. This is the system for it. We've mastered it this year. Now, this next year, we're going to focus on the listings and mastering that.
Yeah, and we know through our buyer process now, we'll get 30 million from that.
Yeah.
So like, we shouldn't dip because we're going to just keep running that play. That should grow, but now we're going to add on to the listings and get really good at this. And that's how they kept working. For me, that's something like, I can appreciate that because trying to get good at every one thing, it's a lot, and I think it's hard to get good at everything when you're getting that many repetitions on it. So just focusing on, we do like our 3 things instead of, trying to do everything a little bit. Just, for me, open house, farming, and boomtown stuff, right?
Yeah. And I feel like, just using Sean as an example, like Sean, those are his 3 focuses, and he's like really good at those things, right? Like, I feel like we, so I feel like if we all, it just motivated me more so to dial in and really dive deep in what are my weaknesses and what I'm not doing well that I can easily improve or start focusing on. And I like that the Loken Group seems like a really, their team seems solid, right? And so everybody was encouraging. Everybody was encouraging everybody, and everybody did what they did at a high level, right? And so I'm not saying that's not what our team is, but I'm just saying it was refreshing to see that in such a large team. Like, everybody was encouraging everybody was doing what they did at a high level and pushing each other, right? I know that as soon as for an example, as soon as I moved in with Sean, right, I was like, I'm pushing myself to a higher level because I see what Sean's doing, and I'm like, I'm going to be a little bit better, and then, we kind of pushed each other, you know what I mean? Or like, when we were all in the office and we're calling people, we kind of push each other, but they're doing that at such a high level, right? They have, 21 ISAs on their team.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we don't have ISAs, right? But we have 10 or 12 people on our team, right? And maybe 4 or 5 of us are in the office at any given time, all the time. So it was just cool because it seemed like they were all in there kind of grinding together.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
I think it's easy for them to get good at a high level for what they do because they just do more of less work each person.
Yeah.
And so just going back to not trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm. So their ISAs focus on that stuff, and listing agents focus on getting listings and being better at their listing presentation. And that's the one thing. So you can get so much better at that if you have your one focus, right? As opposed to if you're trying to get better at buyers and then they have a listing and you're trying to do that. They're trying to do this.
Objection handling and scripts and everything for every aspect of the business. Yeah.
Let's see, what else did they have?
I don't know. Do you guys have any questions about
what they
did?
Brought forward?
Number 1 team in the country.
They're doing something right.
Yeah. I'll tell you I'll let you guys ask. Does anybody have a question?
Doesn't look like it.
Their splits were, and the way that they approached hiring people too, because everyone's like, the splits, what's this team split? They walk in and said, okay, well, how much do you need to make, or how much would you like to make? And then basically just giving you the roadmap. Holy shit, this sounds adorable. And giving them the roadmap. Well, they don't talk about how much you're making for a deal. They're talking about the model and the activities that are going to help you make that $150,000. Make what you want, and then it's just about executing on it. And so people aren't talking about I'm not making enough on my split. It's just are you running the model? Because the model will get you to where you want to be, and then you're happy, right?
Yeah.
That's what you wanted.
And I think their splits were 35% because 15% of it goes to the ISA that is calling and making all of their appointments, right? So that's levers off of them. And granted, they're not making as much from every closing, but they're having more closings because somebody else is doing things that they're not good at or not excelling at,
right?
Or don't want to,
Right.
Yep.
What else? I feel like we just talked to Tyler and I got all my thoughts out, and I don't remember what they were.
So they were a buyer agent. They didn't work on the listing side at all. It was you're one or the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And even things with your sphere. like you didn't make 3 touches to your sphere, they'd reach out to your sphere, just touch base, see how things are going. Some agents really hated it, so they gave them the option of like, would you like to, you know, save some of yours? But after a while, a lot of those agents were like, you know what, you just do it, because they would want to be accountability, but then they would go back and look and like, you didn't make the dials anyways. Let us make the dials, and then when people are getting deals off that, they're like, all right, it makes sense. Like it doesn't really matter who's making the dial, as long as they're doing it well and they're doing it.
And if you think about like wanting to, right, because your past clients are your sphere, all, you know, and so if they have like 500 listings active right now, right, with 16 people on their team, that's a lot of people to follow up with every month. If you're closing that consistently, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, as opposed to you having more and more work, right, it's just another ISA that they handle or they hire to handle all of your sphere follow-ups.
How many deals from Sphere are they, like what percentage of their business is repeat and referral based on what they're doing without the agent actually like following up on, you know what I mean? Like when they pass that off, is it still a good conversion?
He said that their conversion was 68%.
From Sphere deals?
I don't know how much was Sphere and how much, I don't think they talked about that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. He did say that their model was, you know, to keep people there because they've had, I think they're like top first 7 people that they hired are still there and they have a really low attrition. And part of that is because they want to facilitate all the leads and give people just hand people the business to go work. And so I think he said like 95% of their closings came from leads that they generated themselves on the team, or like that the business gave to the agents.
Yeah, like your own people.
No, the Loken said like from deals that the Lokens generated for the agents, not their own sphere deals.
Like if it was like Boomtown versus, it'd be like 95% Boomtown, 5% Sphere basically, like if we were to run those same numbers.
Yeah, and what's interesting about their lead gen though, they don't do, you know, Facebook, Boomtown, all that stuff works. They don't go that route. They go more of a traditional like TV, radio, really building like the brand in the Houston area, so that, you know, when they do get these calls and they do get these leads, I would imagine that they're a little warmer because they know who they are. At least they have good brand recognition in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. I think that helps both with the ISA's conversion because the conversations are easy because there's more like inbound calls, and I think it's easier down the whole line when people know who you are, you know, for the listing agents and for everybody else. So it makes sense that you'd want to stay on that team because the brand makes everything easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What else? Oh, another cool thing that they do is they have rewards parties. So when the company hits the goal, they'll take them and their significant other on a trip. Garrett, if you want to write that down. So just a lot of like team building. They did seem like they're, you know, they have like, how many people they said? 80 people working for them?
Mm-hmm.
Like 80 people working for them. And they try to make it just, you know, big old family. No part-time agents, that type of stuff.
Yeah. No part-time agents.
A lot of girls. I'm looking at the
There's a lot of
picture.
girls in
It's
there.
a lot of ladies on that team.
One thing that I liked too is that they have like everybody on the team looks for other people to join the team, right? Looks for somebody of similar energy, and they do like group interviews, and so a group of like, if they're hiring a new ISA, there's a group of ISA people that are in their group interview, and if one person isn't really sure about it, then they're like, okay, well, we're just going to say no.
Yeah, it has to be unanimous that they're like people that they get on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because Natalia, like, I was like, no.
Call us that other Russian girl.
I think she got shipped back. She's like, no, order bread.
And one thing that I noticed too, they're really transparent, right? So they talk about everything. Everybody knows each other's goals, right? And everybody's big why, and so they can help keep each other accountable.
I do vision boards.
and affirmations. And they have books that they read. That's something that I thought was cool. They have books that they read every month. So Lance kind of jotted out like the books that he read or is reading now, and they talk about them as a team. And I thought that was really cool. Like they're all growing together. Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. They all seem to be working hard to improve themselves, right? Just for the betterment of the team as opposed to just themselves, right? Because if I do well, or you all are doing well, then we all do better together. I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have an office dog though, so.
Yeah, they did. On that picture, they had a black lab in that picture with Gary Keller.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe it was because it was labs and they were black shirts.
Maybe. That makes sense.
He's not as cute as Dee though.
It's hard to find. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I think the big thing, my takeaway too, is like, this is the first people, like, I mean, like in these mastermind things, I'm always meeting people, I'm like, hey, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not that impressive. These guys they were impressive. Like, he really had his systems down. He really, like, was super just action oriented when he decided, like, something made sense. Like, he jumped right all over it, and they dug in. And then Karina was just, like, super, just personable.
Yeah.
Like, they were just really easy to approach and humble and what was the word that people get? Vulnerable. Yeah.
They talk about a lot of things in their life, which, like, I don't know if you guys know the Loken story, but they started out and she was already in real estate and he had gotten like or whatever, and then their first year was so hard that like they hired on people and they almost lost their home. Like their home went into foreclosure and they had to hire a lawyer and all these things.
2 days before it's going to get foreclosed.
Like 2 days, yeah, they saved it. And so just knowing that like people can hit such a deficit, like $250,000 in behind on your bills, right? Hit such a deficit and then come back from it so hard, like so high. Like that was really encouraging to me because it's like when you have big goals, right? And you're like, okay, I can get there or whatever. But seeing somebody come from such a deficit to go to such a high point was really like, oh, if they could do that, like I could do my shit. You know what I mean?
Keep working. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that she said was, Karina was like, I just knew how to like hit the phones and dial and call people and make business happen. And so I really like that. And she was like, when all else fails, like you can put in the work and it will pay off, right?
Do you think our team could benefit from ISAs or anything that they use that we don't use, or?
I don't know. I think definitely we could benefit from somebody, like we had talked about running. He just asked if we thought that we could benefit from having an ISA team on our team. Yeah.
Could we benefit from having an ISA team?
This coming from someone who's actually had an ISA.
So I think ISA is kind of similar to like conversion rate or ROI. Like you have to know what someone's referring to when they say it, because ISA means different things to different people. For us, I don't think ISA means someone cold calling listings necessarily. For us, I think it means someone doing Boomtown to-dos on behalf of people.
Yeah.
Like someone calling and like working Boomtown to-dos so that like you guys don't have to. Like, can we benefit from that? I think it's possible. I view that as like a way to get a realtor or Zillow quality lead from a Boomtown lead, is to have an ISA working it until they're ready for a showing or appointment and then passing it off, so that you don't have to do that 5 or 3 months of like nurturing them and then now they're just ready. So I could see value in that, especially for higher tiered agents. And then I think as a tier 1 agent, like as you work your to-dos, and then as we leverage and take more stuff off your plate, you'll appreciate it more when it's like, man, I did to-dos for 30 leads a month. Now I'm getting 60 leads a month and not doing any to-dos at all because someone else is working on somebody's behalf. I could see value in that. I don't know what that looks like financially, like to throw money at that, so, but that's where I would see value in an ISA model. But yeah, obviously it'd have to make sense. We'd have to afford it, And to Sean's point, I don't know if you've said this or not, but like, it's really hard to like run a team of ISAs. Like it's a hard job, to just do nothing but just call and do to-dos all day long, and so it's hard to have a good culture where those people are happy and they stay around, and like, so it's it's a hard model to keep around, So we know nothing about like running ISAs, so it would be hard to go from nothing to like having that team, I think. That doesn't mean you don't try if it's the right thing, but I think it would be a while before that's like.
You need like a sales manager because you're constantly you're having turnover and having to bring in new people.
I mean, even to this point, Karina Loken of a 2,100 like unit team like serves as partly like ISA manager. You can tell like she's very involved in the ISA team. So yeah, you got to be really in it and really like be about that model.
One thing that I like too that she said is that in the morning they do like a ramp up, right? Like, and maybe it's just for mostly for ISAs or people, but I thought that was kind of cool that they do like a ramp up, like let's get everybody jazzed and then we work on scripts and then we make our dials. You know?
Y'all ready to get jazzed?
I would say like what I was impressed about is two things, specifically like my ahas. One was that you can tell when the Lokens commit to a goal, they commit to it, and like they're gonna get there no matter what, you know. And so like for them, it's not like, well, let's throw out this idea of closing 350 units and then just hope we get there and whatever. It's like, no, 350 is the goal, and I'm gonna figure it out. But like people do that for their own businesses too. Like Gigi says she's gonna close 30 deals this year. Gigi needs to close fucking 30 deals this year. She needs to figure it out. 40, sorry. But like, so that's one thing I was impressed with. They're committed and they're going to figure it out no matter what. They're going to put in the effort. The second thing is I really think they have a similar culture in terms of like they care about their agent's success. They understand that if I help Gigi or Sean or Garrett hit their goals, then I'll get my goals. And so that encouraged me that like we're thinking the right way in those terms. And so then it's just like, how do we continue to focus on that and to go deeper on that?
To that point too is somebody asked Lance, like if you're not hitting your goal, like when do you know to change your goals? And he's like, your goals never change. Just what you're doing. You got intense.
Yeah, like your goals don't change. I might realize, oh crap, it's taking 6 appointments to get a closing, not 3. So now I have to double my appointments attended. You know, that like lead measure changes, but like the lag measure doesn't. The 350 or whatever. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, there.
What were your ahas other than those two that you just said?
Yeah, so those two, and then I think they really have standards for their team. I think like they really have a long, drawn-out hiring process. They follow Keller Williams' career visioning to a T, which is if you guys have never looked it up, it is like how many step process is it, Garrett? It's like an 8 or 9 step process.
I want to say it was 9.
I mean, like you have to send in a resume. The resume gets reviewed. If they don't even like the resume, we don't call them. Then if we like the resume, then Garrett gives you a call and you talk for 30 minutes. If Garrett doesn't like you, don't even move forward. If Garrett does like you, then you have to take a KPA. Then if you take the KPA and we like the KPA, we schedule an in-person interview to verify the KPA. And then if we like your verification, then we do a thought process to see how you think. If we like that, we schedule a second in-person interview to go through motivation and life story. If we like that, then we schedule a group interview and we do your referrals. What are they called? Like your references. You do your references, and then after that we do a defense where everyone that was at the group interview comes back. Like there's like a 7 or 8 step process where they're like really making sure this is the right person and the right culture. And I think that we could do a good job of that. Like really say, I want to protect the people bringing in, and then I think that alleviates any woes in your guys' mind, like, oh, is the culture going to change with you hiring a bunch of people?
Yeah.
So if you guys are in those group interviews and you guys are helping to make those decisions, then you're excited about people bringing in, because every person should add to the culture, not take away. And so I think that's something that we've already started the process on that will continue. You know, and I think the fruit of that, like making sure the right people on the bus, is quite honestly, as blunt as I can put it, part of the reason why we no longer have any Colorado Springs people on board.
Were you making sure that they weren't on the Zoom?
Part of the reason.
Like, let me just check these numbers real quick.
Part of the reason Colorado Springs is not on board anymore is because we understood there wasn't alignment. And so, like, I'm not saying it's their fault, and I'm not saying it's our fault, but we understood there wasn't alignment. And so, like, the longer that we keep people that aren't in alignment, the more it's going to hurt everyone else. And so, like, I think it's really important, like, the lowest kind of people, the lowest level of ambition, the lowest level producers, the lowest level on the culture scale, that adds, I think that really affects your average feeling on the team. And so there's this idea of top grading where they talk about if you take the people that are the lowest level on the culture scale and you replace them with people that are the highest on the culture scale, then your average jumps dramatically because you go from like the bottom half of normal to like the top half of average, right? And so that's really what I think matters is like if we're getting rid of people who aren't bought in, whether it's our fault or their fault, whatever, we're getting rid of people who aren't bought in. We replace them with people who are extremely bought in, then the average level of the team really increases, and you start to really mastermind around people that are bought in, that are seeing the success, that believe in it. And so I think that's another aha for me is like we're working towards the right things. And so like getting rid of them is a chance of saying like that's not working. Now like we've removed the people who feel the least good about our model. So now I think that the level of our team raises just because of that, and we could do more of that, I think, and like bringing in the right people that are going to continue to raise the bar for us. So
Yeah.
that's my thought process.
And I think we've seen that too, when some people, like, not color strings, but like when some people have left our Littleton team, you gotta feel the difference in the energy.
We've experienced it for sure.
Feel like
We've experienced an addition by subtraction several times, like, yeah.
Y'all believe in magic.
For sure, yeah. Yeah,
fun.
it is hot.
They believe in auras, intention.
I believe in auras.
I know, I just said it, you believe in magic.
Blue today.
Huh?
Your great shade of blue with your aura.
Yeah? Yeah.
I'm gonna head back to my meeting, but I wanted to pop in.
Cool.
Anybody have any questions?
If you have any questions,
Yeah, I think
address
we're
them to Gigi or Sean, otherwise we are we done?
I think so.
Cool.
Feels
All right.
good.
Thanks, folks.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
Huh?
I like that scarf, it's very,
This scarf,
very like Indian.
this is from, it's
Well,
actually-
you are Indian. You like curry?
Not that
It's, my client gave it to me.
Remember that day?
No.
Portland?
No.
Like an Indian. And I was like, really? You like curry?
My client gave it to me, she's from Bangkok, and, she brought me this little goodie bag of like this scarf and like a purse and this like elephant that's supposed to bring luck, and like
You look like a
elephant is not working out lately, but, huh?
Maybe it's not working out for you.
It was a joke.
Any other good jokes, Gigi?
Did you see my Jesus?
No.
Okay, the bartender was like, no, that's it, I'm cutting you off, I'm leaving water from now on. And it said, Jesus, sarcastically. Oh, no!
That's pretty good.